When one of the world's most respected physicists, Dr. Michio Kaku, states that an object could change everything we know about the universe, you stop and pay attention. Because in the frozen depths of space, something is moving. Something that doesn't behave like anything we've ever seen before. They call it 3I Atlas. And according to Dr. Kaku, it might be far more than just a rock floating through the cosmic void. NASA has been tracking this object for months, monitoring its trajectory with an intensity that reveals the significance of the discovery. An interstellar object, roughly the size of Manhattan, cutting through our solar system on a hyperbolic path, which means it came from outside our cosmic neighborhood and will never return to wherever it originated. But the truly strange part isn't where it came from or how long it traveled through the darkness of space. It's what it's doing right now, in this very moment, as it approaches our sun. It's rotating in ways that comets simply shouldn't rotate. It's reflecting light inconsistently, displaying properties that defy our understanding of natural celestial bodies. And possibly, according to some of the most rigorous observers in the scientific community, it's accelerating in ways that conventional physics cannot easily explain. These aren't minor details. These are profound anomalies that suggest something fundamental is happening, something that challenges our most basic assumptions about how the universe works. Life Doubts has been following this story closely, tracking the developments as they unfold, examining the evidence with rigorous scrutiny, and asking the questions that mainstream media refuses to ask. Because this is where science meets wonder, where the boundaries between what we know and what we're afraid to imagine begin to blur. Consider what we know about interstellar objects. Before 3I Atlas, we had Oumuamua, discovered in 2017, an object that defied easy categorization. It was elongated, it was rotating strangely, it exhibited acceleration that couldn't be explained by solar radiation pressure alone. Scientists debated its nature for years. Was it a comet, an asteroid, something else entirely? The scientific community largely settled on natural explanations, but questions remained. Then came Borisov in 2019, another interstellar visitor with its own set of anomalies. And now 3I Atlas arrives with properties that seem to push the boundaries of what we consider natural even further. The pattern is becoming impossible to ignore. The universe is sending us visitors, objects that don't quite fit our models, that challenge our assumptions, that force us to expand our understanding of what's possible. Typical comets behave in predictable, well-understood ways that astronomers have catalogued for centuries. They carry ice and rock. They develop characteristic tails as solar radiation vaporizes their surfaces. They follow expected trajectories governed by gravitational laws we've refined through generations of observation. But 3I Atlas presents something fundamentally different. It presents a catalogue of anomalies that refuse to fit neatly into our established frameworks. First anomaly, the trajectory. 3I Atlas is remarkably close to the ecliptic plane of the planets, a geometric alignment that represents a rare coincidence if it arrived through random interstellar wandering. The probability of such precise alignment occurring by chance alone stretches the boundaries of statistical likelihood. The mathematical odds become increasingly difficult to rationalize. Second anomaly, the chemical composition. Spectroscopic analysis from Chile's Very Large Telescope reveals that 3I Atlas has a carbon dioxide-dominated coma with unusual ratios that diverge significantly from what we expect in conventional comets. The composition appears subtly but distinctly different from the standard model of interstellar debris we've developed through studying other objects. This compositional signature suggests formation under circumstances we haven't fully encountered before. Third anomaly, the rotational behavior. 3I Atlas is rotating in ways that defy our expectations. Natural comets tumble randomly as they travel through space. This object, it's rotating with patterns that suggest control, that suggest stability, that suggest something is maintaining its rotation constant and precise. And then we have the fourth anomaly, perhaps the most disturbing of all, the possible acceleration. Some independent observers report that 3I Atlas may be accelerating as it approaches the Sun. This shouldn't be possible according to natural physics. Comets should decelerate as they approach the Sun's gravity well, not accelerate. Yet the data suggests otherwise. These aren't minor discrepancies. These are profound anomalies that suggest something fundamental is happening, something that challenges our most basic assumptions about how the universe operates. The scientific community is divided about 3I Atlas. On one side, we have prominent scientists who say it's just a rock, another interstellar wanderer passing through our solar system like Oumuamua and Borisov did before, objects that arrived and departed without incident or particular mystery. But on the other side, we have those willing to look deeper into the data, willing to question their own assumptions, willing to challenge the established consensus. And among them is Dr. Michio Kaku. Dr. Kaku and his colleagues suspect something fundamentally different. They suspect we're observing a visitor, an intelligent probe, something that knows exactly what it's doing, something that operates with purpose and intention rather than random cosmic drift. This distinction matters profoundly because it transforms our understanding of what we're actually observing. We're no longer simply watching a natural phenomenon. We're potentially witnessing evidence of technology, of engineering, of deliberate action by an intelligence operating on a scale we're only beginning to comprehend. And this week, as 3 Atlas whips around the Sun in its closest approach to our star, scientists worldwide are watching for one crucial clue that could transform absolutely everything. They're watching for an energy boost, an acceleration that shouldn't be possible according to conventional physics. It's called the Oberth Effect, a principle in orbital mechanics that describes how a spacecraft can gain extra energy if it fires its engines at the closest point to the Sun, using the star's gravity well to amplify the thrust and achieve greater velocity. This is a well-known technique in aerospace engineering. Our own space probes use it. But here's where this becomes extraordinary. If 3I Atlas gains more energy than the laws of physics allow, if it demonstrates an energy boost that exceeds what natural gravitational effects could produce, it means something is pushing it. It means there's active propulsion, active control, active intelligence guiding this object through space. Dr. Kaku explained this in a recent interview. He said, if 3I Atlas demonstrates the Oberth effect in ways that exceed natural physics, then the universe just spoke to us. The cosmos just sent us a message. This would change everything we know about who's out there in the cosmos and who might be watching us from the depths of interstellar space. Even military analysts are watching 3I Atlas with intense interest and growing concern. Because if an object that large, roughly the size of Manhattan, can maneuver near the Sun with precision and control, it's not just a comet or a random asteroid. It's a controlled vehicle. It's a spacecraft. It's technology. And that realization raises a completely new set of questions that keep scientists and defense strategists awake at night. If it's not from here, if it didn't originate in our solar system, why is it here now? What brought it to our neighborhood? Is it observing us, gathering data about our civilization, our technology, our potential as a species? Is it testing our technology, probing our defenses, assessing our capabilities? Or is it simply passing through, unaware that the tiny blue planet called Earth is staring right back, that we've noticed it, that we're tracking it, that we're asking questions about its purpose and origin? This is why the tracking of 3I Atlas has become a matter of national security for multiple countries. If 3I Atlas is what some suspect it to be, then humanity has entered a new era. An era where we must consider the possibility of contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. An era where we must think about our defenses, our diplomacy, our place in a larger cosmic community. Dr. Michio Kaku has spent decades contemplating these profound questions, and he believes the galaxy is full of intelligent life. Not light years away in some distant corner of the universe, but in our own neighborhood, relatively speaking. He says with characteristic thoughtfulness and scientific caution, don't bet your house on it, but yes, it's likely we're not alone. The challenge, he explains, is distance. The vast, incomprehensible distances that separate civilizations across the galaxy. To reach the nearest star, Alpha Centauri, would take 70,000 years with our current rocket technology. That's longer than human civilization has existed. That's a time span so vast it defies human intuition and imagination. So if someone or something can send 3I Atlas across interstellar space, if they can propel an object of that size across the vast distances between stars, they're operating on a level of physics we can barely imagine. A level beyond conventional rockets, beyond ion drives, beyond even our most advanced science fiction. We're talking about warp drive physics. We're talking about technology that bends space itself, that manipulates the fabric of reality in ways we've only theorized about in our most speculative physics. The implications of such technology are staggering. If a civilization can master warp drive physics, if they can bend space-time to their purposes, then distance becomes meaningless. The vast gulfs between stars become traversable. The universe becomes accessible. And suddenly, the idea that an object like 3I Atlas could arrive at our solar system becomes not just possible, but inevitable. It becomes a natural consequence of a civilization that has mastered the fundamental forces of physics itself. So maybe 3I Atlas isn't just a rock, just another piece of cosmic debris. Maybe it's a message, a reminder, a signal that we are part of something vast, ancient and intelligent. Maybe civilizations rise and fall across galaxies, experiencing their own golden ages and dark ages, their own periods of expansion and contraction. And maybe one of them, long ago in the distant past, sent out a silent probe, a robotic explorer programmed with a mission that would take millennia to complete. Still gliding through the darkness of space, still doing what it was programmed to do: observe, watch, gather data, report back to its creators across the vast distances of interstellar space. Some theorists suggest that 3I Atlas might be a von Neumann probe, a self-replicating spacecraft that travels through space, explores star systems, and creates copies of itself to continue the mission. Such probes could theoretically explore the entire galaxy over millions of years, each probe spawning new probes, spreading through space like a vast network of explorers. If 3I Atlas is such a probe, then it's not just observing us. It's part of a vast exploration network that spans the galaxy. It's one of countless probes sent out by a civilization that understood the scale of the universe and developed the technology to explore it systematically. The implications are staggering. We wouldn't just be observed by one civilization. We would be observed by a vast network of probes, each one reporting back to its creators, each one part of a larger intelligence that spans light years. Other theorists suggest that 3I Atlas might be a message in itself, a deliberate communication from another civilization. Not a message in words or symbols that we would recognize, but a message in the form of the object itself. Its trajectory, its composition, its behavior, all of these could be intentional signals designed to communicate something to any intelligent species that might detect it. It could be a greeting. It could be a warning. It could be a test to see how we respond. The universe might be full of such messages, probes, and objects deliberately sent to make contact with other civilizations, to establish communication networks across the vast distances of space. And we, in our ignorance, have been dismissing them as rocks and comets, failing to recognize the signals that have been sent to us. The military implications of 3i Atlas cannot be ignored. If another civilization has the capability to send controlled objects through our solar system, they have the capability to send weapons. They have the capability to deliver payloads of any kind to any location they choose. They could destroy our cities, eliminate our civilization, or simply observe us without our knowledge or consent. This is why military analysts are watching 3i Atlas so carefully. This is why governments are concerned. This is why the tracking of this object has become a matter of national security for multiple countries. If 3i Atlas is what some suspect it to be, then humanity has entered a new era, an era where we must consider the possibility of contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, an era where we must think about our defenses, our diplomacy, our place in a larger cosmic community. But there's another possibility, one that's perhaps more hopeful. Maybe 3i Atlas is a probe sent by a civilization that has evolved beyond warfare, beyond the need for weapons, beyond the desire to dominate or destroy. Maybe it's a probe sent by a peaceful civilization, one that explores the galaxy out of curiosity, out of a desire to understand, out of a commitment to knowledge and discovery. Maybe the message it carries is one of peace, of welcome, of an invitation to join a larger community of intelligent beings. Maybe the universe is full of such probes, sent by civilizations that have learned to coexist, that have developed systems of communication and cooperation that span the galaxy. And maybe 3i Atlas is here to invite us to join that community, to take our place among the intelligent species of the cosmos. Dr. Kaku has spoken extensively about the different types of civilizations that might exist in the universe, using the Kardashev scale as a framework. A Type 1 civilization would have the ability to harness all the energy of their home planet. A Type 2 civilization would harness the energy of their entire star system. A Type 3 civilization would control the energy of an entire galaxy. If 3i Atlas comes from a civilization capable of sending probes across interstellar space, they're at least a Type 2 civilization, possibly higher. They would have capabilities that seem like magic to us, that would appear to violate the laws of physics as we understand them. They could manipulate gravity, they could bend space-time, they could achieve velocities that we consider impossible. They would be gods, essentially, from our perspective. And if such beings exist, if they have the capability to send probes to our solar system, then the question becomes not whether they're out there, but why they're here. What is their purpose? What do they want? The Kardashev scale helps us understand the progression of technological advancement. A Type 1 civilization would control weather, earthquakes, and volcanoes on their homeworld. They would harness the power of hurricanes and tsunamis. A Type 2 civilization would construct Dyson spheres around their stars, capturing the entire energy output of a star for their use. A Type 3 civilization would control the energy of billions of stars, essentially controlling an entire galaxy. If 3i Atlas originates from such a civilization, then we're dealing with technology that transcends our current understanding of physics. We won't know for certain what 3i Atlas truly is until we have more data, until we can observe it more closely, until we can analyze its behavior and composition with greater precision. But the fact that we're asking these questions, the fact that we're taking seriously the possibility that this object might be artificial, represents a significant shift in human consciousness. We're beginning to acknowledge that we might not be alone. We're beginning to accept that intelligence might exist elsewhere in the universe. We're beginning to prepare ourselves for the possibility of contact. And that preparation, that shift in perspective, might be the most important thing that 3i Atlas accomplishes, regardless of what it ultimately proves to be. What makes Dr. Kaku's approach particularly valuable is his insistence on maintaining scientific rigor while remaining open to unconventional possibilities. He doesn't claim certainty where certainty doesn't exist. He identifies anomalies and proposes hypotheses. He calls for more data and better observations. He acknowledges the limitations of current evidence while refusing to dismiss possibilities simply because they seem unlikely or extraordinary. This represents the gold standard of scientific thinking, the approach that has historically led to genuine breakthroughs and paradigm shifts. It's the approach that separates genuine scientific inquiry from both dogmatic materialism and credulous acceptance of every extraordinary claim. The coming months and years will be crucial for resolving the Three-Eye Atlas mystery. As the object continues its trajectory through our solar system, as it approaches the Sun and then begins its departure back into interstellar space, opportunities for observation will multiply. Mars orbiters will gather data, space-based telescopes will capture high-resolution imagery, ground-based observatories will conduct detailed spectroscopic analyses. Each observation adds another piece to the puzzle. Each data point either strengthens the case for natural origin or reveals additional anomalies that demand explanation. The scientific process, when allowed to function properly, will eventually produce clarity. The question is whether we have the intellectual courage to follow the evidence wherever it leads, regardless of how uncomfortable the destination might be. Consider what's at stake in how we respond to Three-Eye Atlas. If we dismiss it prematurely because it challenges our assumptions, we risk missing one of the most significant discoveries in human history. If we accept extraordinary claims without sufficient evidence, we undermine scientific credibility and open the door to pseudoscience and unfounded speculation. The challenge is to navigate between these extremes, to maintain rigorous standards while remaining genuinely open to possibilities that challenge our current models. This is the essence of mature scientific thinking. This is what separates genuine inquiry from both closed-minded dogmatism and credulous acceptance of every extraordinary claim. The implications extend beyond astronomy into philosophy, theology, and our fundamental understanding of consciousness and intelligence in the universe. If we discover that we're not alone, if we discover that another civilization has achieved technological sophistication sufficient for interstellar travel or communication, we face profound questions about the nature of intelligence, the prevalence of consciousness in the universe, and the trajectory of technological development across different civilizations. Do all technological civilizations follow similar developmental paths? Do they inevitably develop similar technologies? Or is the diversity of approaches limited only by the laws of physics? These questions have occupied philosophers and scientists for centuries, and Three-Eye Atlas might finally provide empirical data to address them. The role of skepticism in this investigation deserves particular attention. Healthy skepticism is essential for good science. It protects us from accepting false claims, from being misled by incomplete data, from jumping to conclusions prematurely. But skepticism can also become pathological, can become a form of closed-mindedness that refuses to consider evidence that challenges established paradigms. The challenge is to maintain what might be called open skepticism, a stance that questions everything rigorously while remaining genuinely open to evidence that might overturn current assumptions. This is the approach that Avi Loeb advocates for, and it's the approach that the scientific community should embrace when investigating Three-Eye Atlas. As we contemplate the mysteries surrounding Three-Eye Atlas, we must also contemplate our own role in this investigation. We are not passive observers of cosmic events. We are participants in a collective human endeavor to understand our universe and our place within it. Our choices about what questions to ask, what evidence to take seriously, and what possibilities to investigate shape the trajectory of human knowledge. If we choose to dismiss Three-Eye Atlas as merely another comet without rigorous investigation, we make a choice about what kind of civilization we are. If we choose to investigate thoroughly, to follow evidence wherever it leads, and to remain open to possibilities that challenge our assumptions, we make a different choice. That choice reflects our commitment to truth, to understanding, and to the pursuit of knowledge regardless of where it leads. The story of Three-Eye Atlas and Dr. Michio Kaku forces us to confront the most profound questions that humanity has ever asked. Are we alone in this vast universe? Are we being visited by intelligences from other worlds? Or are we witnessing nature's surprises? The universe revealing aspects of itself that challenge our current models and expand our comprehension of what's possible. The truth may lie encoded in the data streaming in from observatories around the world and in space. We are just beginning to develop the tools and frameworks necessary to decode it properly. The investigation continues, the data accumulates, and perhaps in the coming months and years we will finally begin to understand what Three-Eye Atlas truly represents. Whether it proves to be a natural object with unusual properties or something far more extraordinary, the investigation itself represents humanity's commitment to understanding our universe. And that commitment, that willingness to ask difficult questions and follow evidence into unknown territory, represents the best of what science can offer. Because sometimes what we call a rock is just a rock. But sometimes what we call a rock is a visitor, a messenger, a probe from another world, a signal from another intelligence. And if that's what Three-Eye Atlas is, if it's what some of the most brilliant minds in science suspect it might be, then we're living through a moment of profound historical significance. We're living through the moment when humanity finally has to acknowledge that we're not alone. We're living through the moment when the universe speaks to us, and we have to decide how to respond. This is Life Doubts, where science meets wonder, where the boundaries between what we know and what we're afraid to imagine begin to blur, where we ask the questions that others refuse to ask, where we follow the evidence wherever it leads, and where we prepare ourselves for the possibility that the universe is far stranger, far more wonderful, and far more populated than we ever dared to imagine. The story of Three-Eye Atlas is still being written. The truth is still unfolding. And we, as a species, are finally beginning to ask the right questions. The answers, when they come, will change everything. They will transform our understanding of our place in the cosmos. They will reshape our philosophy, our religion, our politics, our entire conception of what it means to be human in a universe that contains other intelligent beings. And that transformation, that shift in perspective, might be the most important thing that ever happens to our species. Because sometimes the greatest discoveries are not about what we find out there in space, they're about what we discover about ourselves. Keep looking up. The answer may be approaching from the depths of interstellar space. The universe is speaking. The question is whether we're finally ready to listen,